Israel's war against Gaza has reached its 82nd day. In this period, more than 20,000 Palestinians have lost their lives. In recent development, international organizations and the government in Gaza have alleged Israel of harvesting organs of the Palestinian dead bodies. This decades-old allegation has once previously also been proven, and calls for an international probe into the matter is growing. Good evening, I'm Prarambha. Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. A postnatal mother dies due to cold in Jazarkot. The number of earthquake victims dying due to cold reaches 35. The Public Accounts Committee claims breach of law during procurement of TerraMark's system, directs the corruption watchdog CIAA for more investigation. At least 241 people killed in the past 24 hours in Israeli attacks on Gaza. Old allegation on Israel of organ harvesting resurface as NGOs accuse Israel of stealing vital organs. And APF enters into the playoffs of Prime Minister Cup National Women's Cricket Tournament with 5th consecutive win, defeats Karnali by 92 runs. Another postnatal mother has died in Jazarkot because of cold weather condition. 24-year-old Kalpana Nepali of Jazarkot, Kuse Rural Municipality, Ward number 9, Gharti Gaon, died this morning. According to Rural Municipality Chairperson Ramchandra Bodel, the death was caused by cold weather condition. Kalpana had given birth to 2 baby boys on December 3. Following the devastating earthquake of November 3, Kalpana had been living with her husband and in-laws under a tent. Prior to this, 25-year-old Sharmila Chadara of Nalgad had died on November 26. A total of 29 deaths in Jazarkot and 6 in Rukum West have been caused because of the dip in mercury after the earthquake. Public Accounts Committee of the Parliament has directed the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority (CIA) to investigate the procurement of TerraMark's technology. Today's meeting of the committee held in Singhadarbar has concluded that laws were violated during procurement of TerraMark's technology and has therefore directed the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority to investigate the process and take required actions. The committee has also directed the anti-graft body to furnish updates about the progress in the investigations every 30 days. It has had discussions with officials of the Nepal Telecommunications Authority and the Nepal Telecom regarding the procurement process of TerraMarks. Raising 12 serious questions regarding the procurement process, the committee has also directed to halt all procedures related to procurement of TerraMarks. The committee has said that several required procedures were ignored during the procurement of TerraMarks. It has concluded that the order of the Supreme Court was also avoided during the process. At the committee, parliamentarians said that Nepal did not require TerraMark's technology and urged for halting its procurement process. District Administration Office Sunsari has returned the 33 bighas land of the victims of loan sharks. Following discussions on the grievances filed by the victims, 33 bighas of land previously kept as collaterals has been returned. According to Assistant Chief District Officer Om Vatarai, 235 complaints registered at the District Administration Office Sunsari have been resolved. Following nationwide protests, the government has begun procedures to formulate laws by considering loan sharking a crime. Issuing a notice on August 13, 2022, the Ministry of Home Affairs had urged the victims of loan sharks to register their complaints at their respective district administrations. A total of 614 complaints were registered at the Sunsari administration by mid of December. According to District Administration Office, discussions were held in 460 of those total complaints. Kaski Police has urged the police headquarters to issue a diffusion notice against 4 individuals, including Gitendra Babu or GB Rai, the founder of Surya Darshan Savings and Credit Cooperatives, Pokhara, for embezzlement of around 1.5 billion rupees. A diffusion notice is to be issued in the name of GB Rai, Bhupendra Rai, Than Bahadur Budamagar and Shiva Bahadur Gurung alias Mahendra Bote. District Police Office Kaski has corresponded with the police headquarters on December 21 to search all 4 alleged of embezzlement. GB Rai has remained at large after Kaski police initiated investigation for embezzlement of 1,353.3 million rupees of around 19,000 depositors at the cooperative. A case against 19, including the 4, is in progress at Kaski court. However, the masterminds of the case are yet to be arrested. Police suspects the alleged individuals to be hiding in Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai and Hong Kong. Following the request of Kaski police, the police headquarters has made preparations to issue a diffusion notice through Interpol. District Government Attorney Office had registered a case against 19, including the 4, on October 5. Hearing on the case against cricketer Sudip Lama, who is alleged of raping a minor, will continue at the Kathmandu District Court tomorrow. The hearing, which continued today after it had failed to conclude yesterday, will now resume tomorrow. The case is being regularly heard at the bench of Judge Shishir Raj Dahal from Sunday. Prior to this, the Supreme Court had directed for conclusion of the case at the earliest. A verdict on the case, which was filed on November 1 last year, has remained elusive under several pretexts. Workers of industries located in Simara of Bara have been agitated, saying the decision of cutting electricity had created a negative impact in their jobs. The Joint Struggle Committee, including official trade unions of Jagadamba Steels, Hula Steels and Triveni Mills located in Simara, Bara, have begun their protest programs. The agitated workers have staged protests at different parts of Simara in Bara. The thousands of workers chanted slogans saying the workers should not be hit hard by the dispute between the government, employers and the Nepal Electricity Authority. They also demanded guarantee of their employment and resuming operation of the short industries. The agitated workers also submitted memorandums at the Area Administration Office in Simara Bara and Bara branch of Electricity Authority in Simara. The NEA had cut the lines of Jagadamba Steels and Ashok Steels for failing to pay the due fees for using dedicated and trunk lines. The Unified Socialist Front has suggested Prime Minister Dahal to implement federalism by introducing an ordinance if required. Today's meeting, held at the official residence of the Prime Minister in Balotar, has also assessed the performance of the government. The leaders have also held discussions regarding further strengthening the entity and the National Assembly elections slated for January 11. The meeting was also attended by Nepal Communist Party leader Netra Bikram Chand, against whom an arrest warrant has been issued. Chand shared his grievances with Prime Minister Dahal regarding the warrant. It has been understood that the meeting will resume this evening. The government has made preparations to call the winter session of the Parliament following conclusion of the National Assembly election slated for January 25. Winter session is also known as the session of bills. It is a parliamentary practice to discuss on bills during this session for formulation of new laws. However, with preparations underway for the session, most ministries have yet to formulate the draft of the bills. The Ministry of Law has already corresponded with other ministries for preparation of the bills. However, the ministries have remained indifferent in this regard. The government has claimed of formulating laws by presenting as many bills as possible at the Parliament in the upcoming session. However, the preparation or the lack of from the ministries has been making a mockery of the claim. Each ministry must reach a principal level agreement from the Ministry of Law for preparation of draft of required laws and furnish the drafts to the ministry once prepared. The draft, once approved by the Ministry of Law, is taken forward to the Council of Ministers. Once approved by the Council of Ministers, the bill is registered at the Parliament. As provisioned by this arrangement, the Ministry of Law had corresponded with all ministries on December 5 for preparation of drafts. However, not a single ministry responded to the correspondence. The Ministry of Law wrote another letter on December 17, reminding the ministries for preparation of drafts of required laws within 1 week. And despite the lapse of 10 days since the second correspondence, no ministry has responded to the call. Despite the reminder from the Ministry of Law, the Ministry of Physical Infrastructures, Urban Development, Health and Population and Energy have not prepared a single draft. The Ministry of Forest has prepared the draft of the bills related to herbs, while the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology has said that preparation of the drafts related to monitoring social networking platforms, information technology and films are underway. Even these drafts have yet to be presented to the Ministry of Law for approval. The Ministry of Home Affairs has said that studies are underway for the Armed Police Force Act and the Election Management Act. The Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation is preparing the draft for Tourism Act, while the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology is holding discussions on bills related to technology and safe use of chemicals. Despite the necessity to formulate more than 100 laws based on the Constitution of Nepal, the ministries have yet to prepare drafts and receive approval from the Ministry of Law. 7 bills are under observation at the Council of Ministers. Preparations are underway to present a dozen bills at the Council of Ministers as well. However, there is no certainty regarding the bills reaching the Council of Ministers, being presented at the Parliament and taking the shape of laws. There is a growing fear regarding if the winter session of the Parliament will also be limited to speeches of leaders, as the ministries continue to remain indifferent towards preparation of the drafts of required laws. Saza Yatayat has begun construction works for charging stations in its office premises for operation of all 40 electric buses it had procured last year. Saza has begun installation works of 11 charging stations in its office premises in Pulchok. 14 months ago, the government had procured 40 buses in 2 phases through Saza to promote the use of electric vehicles. However, Saza was drawn into controversy because of the delay in operation of the buses, which it said was caused because of the delay in handover of the buses by the company and the government failure in providing land for charging station and parking. Of the 40 buses procured from China, only 25 are in operation at the moment. According to Saza, following installation of the charging stations, 20 buses can be charged at one time and all buses would come into operation. Electric bus company CST is installing the charging stations. Saza has added that route permit for all buses have been secured. Saza has a total of 22 ropenis of land in Pulchok. Of the land, it had rented around 10 ropenis to Nepal Telecom. The charging stations are being installed at the same property. Now, following the government decision to procure 300 electric vehicles to curb environment pollution 5 years ago, 3 billion rupees was released to Saza cooperatives for procurement of the electric buses. Saza had procured 40 electric buses at an investment of 610 million rupees last year. Despite the lapse of 12 years since integration with the national road network, roads of Mugu in Karnali province have yet to be blacktopped. The local residents and the passengers have been compelled to bear the brunt because of gravel and narrow roads. Mugu was linked with the national road network on December 16, 2012. The government had aimed of blacktopping the roads connecting the district with the national network within 3 years. However, with the road yet to be blacktopped, wet monsoon conditions and dry winter conditions have been creating difficulties in operation of vehicles in Mugu. Vehicles are operating along the 94-kilometer Gamghadi-Kalikot Nagma section despite several risks. The 9-kilometer section between Talcha Airport and Gamghadi and 41-kilometer section of Gamghadi, Tarapani, Sorikhat have also yet to be blacktopped. The 18-kilometer Gamghadi-Chayel section has also remained in a dilapidated condition. Elsewhere, the 35-kilometer section from Gamghadi to Balaipina, Katyad, Gamta to Kalakardak Jumla, Gatijula has also not been blacktopped in the period of a decade since construction. President Ramchandra Bodel has performed a puza or worship at popular religious shrine Baglung Kalika Bhagwati today. President Bodel, who had reached Baglung to inaugurate the Baglung festival, reached the Kalika temple earlier this morning. He also visited the Sri Dharacharya Shaligram Museum in Kudule of Baglung today. Baglung festival concludes on December 7. It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Polls.
The question is, why has the country failed to become self-sufficient in rice? Your options are A, no encouragement for farmers, B, lack of labor force, and C, import-based mentality. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And now before we wrap up, here's a look into the top stories one more time. Another postnatal mother dies because of cold in Jajarkot. The number of earthquake victims dying to cold reaches 35. The Public Accounts Committee claims breach of law during procurement of TerraMox system. Directs the corruption watchdog CIAA for more investigation. Allegation on Israel of organ harvesting resurface as NGOs accuse Israel of stealing vital organs from Palestinian dead bodies. And APF enter into the playoffs of Prime Minister Cup National Women's Cricket Tournament with 5th consecutive win. defeat Karnali by 92 runs. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin is at 10:30 p.m. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.